Blerds Eyeview is a proud affiliate of Otaku Noir. Use the code Blerds Eyeview for 10% off on all items. With a different nerd-themed box filled with items made by talented blerds across the country, you surely will not be disappointed. Go to otakunoir.com. Otaku Noir, the #1 blurred mystery box company. Laney just back in.
Hi.
There
I
she
just
is.
cut it. I cut it short. I cut it short. This one.
Oh wow.
Skeleton Crew. I am pleasantly surprised with this show.
Yeah.
Whether it's callbacks, whether it's Easter eggs, whether it's theories, this show's good.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly this takes place after the Jedi are quote unquote not seen for various reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But damn, the Easter eggs, it makes you deep dive on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
If you've been faithful, there's a lot of payoff going on right now. Well, not a lot. There is some integration, I will say, that's going on right now.
So
of things.
Before we get to that, I know that when Captain Silva, when they go see, what's her name? Nahum? No,
Is it Kim?
I think so. He go sees his friend.
The owl?
The owl.
The owl, yeah.
Kim.
She calls him a different name. She calls him Crimson Jack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Crimson Jack is a callback to an old pirate that's the nemesis to Han Solo. It's literally it's like a throwaway, not a throwaway character, but it was in the comics, the Star Wars comics.
This is why I just listen and ask questions, because this goes into the deeper pool.
Yeah,
I didn't get into the Star Wars comics at all, so
I dived I waded in the waters of the Star Wars comics, so I knew when I heard Crimson Jack, Crimson Jack, and I'm like, not that one, not, and come to find out, it's just that they're just using the name.
Yeah.
But if you know, if you've had some kind of run-in with some of the comics, you know that he's the reason why in comics they kind of crossed over a little bit. Crimson Jack is the reason why Han Solo couldn't pay Jabba the Hutt, because he took his money. He took the money from him. So when Han didn't have the money to pay Jabba, which is because of Crimson Jack. So, but it's not stated in the movies. It's stated in the comic. So,
right.
But yeah,
it's Disney from having to pay off the other people.
That part. So, but no, it's oh god, it's such a fun ride. It really is. He goes by I think 3 names:
Crimson Jack,
Captain Silva,
something Nod Nawal or some shit.
Yeah, because he mentions his name. Yeah.
The his Jedi name, whatever the fuck that is. I can't remember. Skeleton. I'm looking it up. I'm never gonna remember. Skeleton Crew Jedi name.
So he is the captain then from the first episode, right?
Yes, he's definitely the captain from the first episode.
Yeah, that was
which I figured that was going to be the case.
Yeah,
Jod No Wood, which super fucking made up off rip. I'm like, no, my guy.
Is he in Order 66 baby all grown up or what?
We don't know.
No, he's not a Jedi, babe. He's not a Jedi. He's not a. He promise you, he's not a Jedi.
Oh, he's definitely not a Jedi.
I'm not saying a Jedi, just somebody who happened to be within the temple at the time of. Technically, Grogu and Sis from Obi-Wan ain't Jedis either, but they were within range of getting struck down.
He's closer to being a Wookiee than he is a Jedi. He's just making up shit so he can get on that kid's ship. and get the hell out.
So what about the whole thing with the key then?
Uh, I don't know what the trick was, but it definitely was a trick of sorts.
Okay, because I'm just like,
Because
Yeah, he's force sensitive.
that's
He's
what I'm.
definitely
That's
force
what I'm
sensitive.
saying.
He's just force sensitive.
I'm not saying he would walk the path. I'm just saying he was within enough range of someone who knew force to teach him the basics, or at least learn by watching. That's what I was like. Is he one of the kids who just escaped and tried to live a normal life, and now you're on the streets slinging yayo for gangbangers, or what?
I mean,
is he though?
What?
kind of feel like
guess.
a jack of all trades with just a little bit of force powers.
Yeah, he's just force sensitive.
Is
And I mean, he's a pirate. He's a pirate. He's going to play along with the role and twist words because Wim keeps calling him. He's a Jedi. He's a Jedi. He never once said he was a Jedi. He just and he even says it in the show. He's like, "But you're a Jedi." He's like, "I never said I was a Jedi."
He ran along with it though. He's like, well, "That's what you want. That's what you want to go. That's what you want to associate me with. Whatever gets me out of this jail cell."
That's it.
I mean, could he? I'm just trying to think what force sensitivity he could have gotten, or if he's one of the force sensitive kids that never got claimed all grown up and just magically has these abilities, or what his story is. Because in some stories, the pirate captain is a runaway kid who was part of another crew, and the cycle repeats for captain and crewmate until they grow up. And
he did say he was lost.
Mm-hmm.
He was he was Buggy, and the wolf dude is Shanks.
Yeah. Wim's father. He's ever since Wim got on that ship and it was taking off, he didn't react like a father that is extremely worried.
Mm-hmm.
He knows.
It's something
knows
going
more
on.
shit than the rest of the adults.
He got pulled out the Matrix.
Yeah.
That was his unplugging. It was like, I gotta do this. I gotta do this. My child is gone, and now you say you can't find my child. You can't go after my child.
And his reaction is so.
Yeah. Like, nah, I'm gonna be quiet in front of y'all motherfuckers because y'all don't know how to keep your mouth shut.
You know what it was?
I'm gonna get my kid. I don't know what you're gonna do.
That's when the teacup hit the ground and he woke up. That was like, oh y'all, oh okay. Let me.
Oh y'all are for real on your bullshit. Oh, cool.
Okay,
all
so
right,
I need to know not to say nothing around y'all.
The Karen Club.
I'm trying to figure out where they're at to where they seem to know of the Galactic Republic, and now I'm trying to figure out, are they talking about the New Republic, or do they still think that we are under?
I still think it's the latter. I think they still think they're under wartime because you saw how quickly they were like, well, we can't contact them. Why?
And they're outside the barrier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's the wild part about it.
Because I'm trying to how much is known about what's outside the barrier? Because the fact that y'all know that there's a republic means someone's been passing information there and back. But I'm like, do y'all think we're under the New Republic or Palpatine puppeteering both playmates type?
But everybody outside.
I think this is all old Republic. I think they've been hidden even during the Galactic War with Palpatine and them.
I think it is not, and it's not just Wim's father. I'm sure there's other people there in pockets that like, hey, we don't say shit, we don't know shit, we just gonna play this role, and that's all that is.
And then you got everybody outside the planet's like, that place is a myth. Like when you say every time the kids,
when you go in certain reaches, you know, when you go in certain reaches, they don't. They're like, there's no plan by that name, and then other people are like, myth. You gotta be lying,
right?
And why are you still using old Republic credits? That's what, over 1,000
years old? That was
old?
my thing. Which Republic are they talking? Like, is Clone War stuff considered like retro now, or
before?
Even
before that. Before that.
Because even then, how long has this colony been here, and what other planet? Are we just
long enough? That
we
colony's been there
literally
long enough to go several generations
Without
at
nobody
least that nobody knows. Just
Yep.
long enough to bring people in to play the role, like those parents that's lost in there, or those parents that have the lost kids. They may not know, but that one, what's her name? Her mom. I think she's upset because her daughter's out there, but she's striking me as there's more to you too. You just not putting on like the daddy is right now.
Right.
There's the thing that it's weird for me. The thing that's been irking the shit out of me was their tech. Even before they got to their credits, the fact that the kid had to scroll through that hologram iPad thing, that's even older than the old shit that was in the Clone Wars. They weren't doing anything manually. It was all like holograms and moving stuff. You didn't have to like physically or manually manipulate their tech at all from the point that we came into the scene. That's what's making me think it's
John Talley says the Republic credits puts them in a prequel era. It puts them after because that one droid that he woke up said, "Oh, did we win?"
Right.
And then he shut him right back down. I'm like, okay, this puts you in a different window.
I still think that it's that planet doesn't know anything about the Clone Wars. I don't think they know anything about that. They know about the Jedi because the Jedi would have been prolific throughout that sector in the Old Republic. Like they ran shit like without question. It was Jedis were legendary. I don't know.
It makes me wonder. Like, I know I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, and like John Talley said, it's prequel era, but it's not. The war is obviously over, or at least that part of that war is over.
Right.
Now you're figuring out, okay, where do you fall?
Is he talking about the prequels as far as like Padme and Anakin being in love prequels, or are you talking about even before that?
I'm thinking during the Anakin Padme. Well, not during.
No, if you're saying it after the war, then you're talking about in between prequel and before original.
Especially like
you said, it's more like Bad Batch time.
No, I think the Old Republic was way before any talk about Vader. He says before any talk about Palpatine. It's okay. So before all of that, so it's not those movie prequels, but the prequel to the prequels, if that makes sense.
So now it makes you say, okay, now if that droid is saying, "Did we win?"
He just happened to be there. I think it's just a plot
point. It could be Acolyte era.
That's all I'm about to say. That's that's the end of High Republic, isn't it? Acolyte era is end of High Republic, if I'm not mistaken.
They were still active then.
I know.
Wim talks about the Jedi as if they were past tense.
No.
So then that would be after prequel. That would be in between.
If anybody's seen the old video game and how they kind of had a war within that first trailer where they're fighting in the woods, and Buddy takes the grenade to the face like Toby 3 style. Could be this plan also thing.
See, now that makes you think. Now it makes me think. Because they didn't specify, like they just said the Great War. They didn't really specify which one. And now that I'm thinking about what Wim says when he's like, I want to be a Jedi. I want to be a Jedi. He almost does talk about them as they're in past. Maybe it's not in past tense. It's just he's heard stories.
John Talley got a comment.
3,500 years.
Thank you, John. I like you.
I'm curious. How do they know what an Old Republic credit is?
They said
they're pirates. They're pirates.
Gold is recognized everywhere.
Yeah.
Also,
they know they don't. They know they're like old.
Also,
that was a droid, though, right? So who knows how old the droid actually is either?
Nobody knows how old the droid is. Yeah, the droid, the bartender at the Pirate Harbor. He was the first to see it. He was just like, "Oh, where did you get Old Republic credits from?"
Right.
And you know, when you are in those circles, yeah, the word travels. Like myth or not, that word travels.
That kid killed me though. My dad gave him to me for lunch money. Don't tell him how much you got.
So there are other things that are saying that's taking place between in the same time frame as the Mandalorian series.
No, the show right now, yes,
the show,
is taking place during then, but the planet being shielded from everything that's gone on, we're saying that originated back in the
I misunderstood y'all.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I thought y'all was talking about the time. Okay, I'm totally misunderstood y'all. Okay.
The time period that the story is happening, yes, is the Mandalorian.
That's what I thought y'all was talking about. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
But the planet I was so confused on why y'all kept saying like it's mad. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
the founding of the planet and how many people are in on it, because obviously this father's in on it.
Right.
He knows something.
It sounds like they're trying to do a village.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
So on the internet, there's a screenshot of their sky, and you notice it's all uniform. There's little red dots in the sky, in a pattern in the sky. I think that is a cloaking device, because remember Wim said, whoever it was, one of the kids said, "Oh my God, look at why are there so many stars? Or look at all these stars. There must be hundreds," not knowing they're in a whole fucking galaxy. So there's ooh, buddy. I'm excited.
Look, that's why I love this show, because one, you can't help but call it like Goonies in space. That's what it is. You know, it's telling this story from a different perspective, and then it's fresh. So like, you're mentioning Jedis. The Force is an often talked about thing. No matter what it is, it don't even have to have Jedi. You still have, because we know there are Force sensitive users. They not necessarily Jedi, but the rumor that runs around is that Jedi are the ones that uses it, and Jedi only.
This is what we want Ben to be.
So John says the planet seems part of the. Oh, go ahead. No, you got it. You go ahead.
Sorry, I was reading out loud. My bad. The planet seems to be part of the monetary system. The kids were getting finance education. They type Wall Street quants. The type Wall Street quants get.
That's why I was saying when Homegirl came in for their test, I'm like, that position, she said, I've never heard of in the Senate or any other planet. And the droids are also very unique.
Yeah.
Even Homeboy that they found on the ship, I'm like, kind of the first time we've seen the accurate physical strength of a droid too, because even rusty as he was still able to deflect in time, basically calculate movements, and toss people like ragdolls.
Even Bama said it's ABY, and that is true because the X-wing pilot at the end, it tells you when he was around, and that's when it was.
For the people that are not Star Wars savvy, ABY stands for After the Battle of Yavin, which is basically episode 5, right?
Was Yavin 4, 6, or 5?
I think it was
4.
4. You're right. My bad. I'm sorry. Don't kick me out.
Wait,
yeah,
what,
4.
All in the game.
New Hope.
I'm going back and forth with him in the comments. Like, that's a statement.
Yeah.
I know
that's a statement.
Because I know the planet is called Yavin 4. That's why I'm.
Oh, but yeah, Yavin 4. Yeah.
So the Battle of Yavin is on which movie then?
4. New Hope.
When did it end?
I am inclined to agree with you on that.
Yeah.
That makes John says it's probably a planet-wide money laundering operation.
Makes sense.
I am so inclined to agree with that.
Well, the fact that they still haven't shown us how big this galaxy actually is, and we're finding out that they hyper jump to everywhere. You basically have planets hiding in plain sight because they've just built a map around each of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm saying when Owl Girl broke out the map and had to be the worst snitch of all time, and she was like, "Yeah, these symbols and this stuff, I haven't seen it," and she had like a whole solar system of planets that haven't been accounted for or lost to time. It's like they didn't die; they just weren't included in the new gentrified galaxy map.
Stupid.
Yeah, that's what it was. Galaxy map with hyperspace routes. Yep.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder because that wasn't the only planet, and she said that.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the only planet that was like that. So now it becomes, like John was saying, the money laundering. You can't just money launder. If you're in space in galaxy wide type situations, you're not going to be the only one. You've got to be working with somebody else.
Pretty much.
But it still that doesn't 100% make sense, because who's coming to pick up the money? Who would be able to find that planet? Which also leads me back to the whole clone planet being wiped off of the galaxy map back in what was that, episode 1, where they found the clone planet, because all of the stars are gravitating around this one particular point. So they're hiding from everybody.
See, look. So think about this. Think about this. The dad is always gone.
Yep.
Always gone. Like he's like, I gotta go. I'm a supervisor. I gotta go do this. I gotta do that. You've seen how he's reacting to things. So he's obviously high up on the high enough off on the chain where they tell these kids, oh no, we never leave this planet. Oh, there's nothing else outside of here. There's nothing. But if you are part of the system, of course you're going to tell the public that.
Yep.
And they're grooming these kids to be analysts and all this. They're not grooming them to be anything outside of being a boring type of job.
Mm-hmm.
What are they grooming these? This is what I feel like is going on too. If they are making these kids accountants, who are they grooming them for? What was the purpose? Who were the original people waiting for to show up and then made the decision, we have to keep all of these kids prepared when we get rediscovered?
Yeah, like we don't have to tell this pocket of people what we actually are doing. We just need them to do certain jobs, and then we that's why they take those aptitude tests. Who can we really trust to do certain things, and who can we trust to do the underlying things?
That, and the population only cycles so often with so many people. You got to figure out who can replace what worker be where. Very much
like they may never leave the planet, but they may have somebody, like if it's money laundering, they got somebody. They just don't say anything. Like, you know, these kids are in bed. It's a boring planet. Nothing goes on. They don't have to see them leave the planet because they ain't looking.
Well, what is but it still goes back to what is it on this planet that is so needing of them to be in the financial sector? It's like, you can't say you're mining something because you're not really making workers, but it's something dealing with numbers and something dealing with in great quantities. So that's going to be the mystery as to why these kids are being trained in the way that they are.
So now it makes me wonder, whatever was on that ship at the very first episode that they ended up not finding.
That was also my question. I'm like, usually there's the whole interrogate him, find out where they hid it, and they just immediately went to blame the captain. I'm like, that was a fast turn.
Yeah.
But you know who else I think I could appear that I'm curious to see if they bring. If anybody remembers Kyle Katarn from the, what was it, the what was the one that everybody played on Xbox? The Jedi Knight games.
Knights of the Old Republic.
Wrong.
Knight in Jedi Academy, Jedi Knight 2, and Jedi Outcast. He was the main character in that. He was kind of a smuggler turned Jedi, but then there was a whole different story where Luke had a school that worked.
John Todd says Dark Forces. Is Dark Forces?
He Dark Forces, I think, was another PS1 game he was in, but they gave him a rebrand for the GameCube. The Jedi Academy was another one that people played because you got to basically choose to be a Sith or a Jedi. And then Jedi Outcast was basically he tried it, didn't work out, but kept some of the skills. But they haven't really done much with him since. But I'm curious if he can make it him or somebody else. I feel like we don't see more of him should now the Bad Batch is over. Just more retired clones. I feel like we were surprised we haven't seen any of them wandering around, even though they're all herded on a planet somewhere, I think. I don't know. I feel like, or maybe they haven't set. Maybe only certain vessels leave and the coordinates are predestined into the vehicles themselves. Hence why the ship leaving is hushed because they weren't accounting for another vehicle that knew the locations on and off of there.
The only people that were out there outside of the kids was the father and the security droids.
Yeah.
They didn't really question about the ship leaving. They just like, oh my God, our kids are on a ship out in space. They didn't ask about where the ship came from. They didn't ask anything. They didn't ask none of those. They didn't ask none of those questions. How did they get access to it? They didn't ask none of that stuff.
It's I'm thinking, what if they only have everything that comes in and out is pre-programmed ahead of time by like maybe one person, so that even people piloting or riding on it won't know where they're going. But I'm curious to also, who's the architect that missed the one ship like 5 feet away in a ditch?
Oh, I don't think they missed that ship. I don't think that ship actually. I think the ship crashed, but they said we have to bury this. Like we know where to go with what we have, but they may have taken on damage getting there.
Right.
But we're gonna set this thing down nice and quiet and not say anything.
That doesn't make sense, because why were the two people that were in there dead fighting each other?
Gold.
If anything, you think they would have went in and recovered the droid, so there's no one with a history of whatever might be in that ship?
I mean, if they're pirates, that answers its own question.
Right.
That too.
Yeah.
Like that's gold. The two pirates fighting over it. Well, the two that we know of anyway.
So it feels like the issue would be more so they're more worried somebody might find that ship and trace it back to their location and blow whatever operation we may or may not know about.
If they know how.
If they know how.
Because they keep hyperspacing and nobody has time to trace this ship. They've hyper jumped 3 times. And no one has once said we can follow where this ship goes. Remember, New Hope and Rogue One was literally, we have a way of tracking hyperspace.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if their planet is real, is that why he was so heavy on ducking the New Republic X-Wings? Because again, she was playing it off very well until she wanted to say his name out loud and clear for the wire she was wearing.
I was hoping they would show who was in the other X-Wing, but apparently they must have not been important enough.
Right.
And they weren't the people I thought they were going to be that we've seen in Obi-Wan or in Mandalorian.
I'll say it could be for Mandalorian, the dude we always see in who's basically just our like inside man with the cops.
Yeah. So it wasn't who I thought it was going to be. That's why I looked up. It was X-Wing Commander Kent. That's who it is. But there's not a lot of information on him.
Hold up, just 1 second. All in the game. I'm gonna need you to step back off of Daddy Favreau for 2 seconds, okay? He's doing spaghetti western. That is what we're riding in on. That is what Star Wars started off with. I'm not fighting with you. I'm just saying, let's be respectful about what we got. Because it don't happen often that we take off on a whole brand new epic series. And we're enjoying ourselves. And happy to have them.
I'm curious.
The fact that you just said a whole new brand series. Thank you. That's what I was trying to think about on how to express that. It's not saying that Andor is not good. Andor was excellent. However, one for me that I really like. Thank you. One thing I really like is the difference that because Andor came after Rogue One, or not before. I mean, before Rogue One. So you already had some of that story, whereas Mando was completely different and brand new. You got brand new characters. You started even brand new lore. You know what I'm saying? So like that for me was why I personally hold Mandalorian season 1 and 2, especially even over Andor. That's just me.
Cheers.
I still call.
I'm out, but that part.
Season 3 of Mandalorian for me will always be Bo-Katan's Zelda journey. This was her.
Yep.
And that's fine.
You're right.
That's fine.
Every time she found a new land, she found new lore, she found new power-ups. Take this; it'll help you on your journey.
Yep.
New recruits for the big bad army, and then found the mythical beast at the end. And they just.
It's too dangerous to go alone. Take this.
So much more tighter in Rebels than it was in season 3.
Yeah.
That pissed me off.
One day I'll watch Rebels. One day.
You bathe in the waters of Mandalorian. You are a Mandalorian again. But I'm not a Mandalorian.
Okay, so I need Spartan over these next 2 weeks to watch 28 days and 28 weeks later, and I need Tafari to watch the Rebels because GD.
Please.
You know what it was?
Peak writing and entertainment.
And let's not forget. Ahsoka beat Vader and Maul.
Didn't they
walked away.
Didn't they do some time travel antics with that in Rebels?
You hush. We're not gonna talk about that.
I'm not mad at it. That was my first introduction to.
Okay. No. To answer your question, if I remember correctly, the time travel was not because she was going to lose to them. It was because that the whole temple was coming down and she was snatched out of the time stream. Okay. It was exactly. It wasn't because she was losing. It wasn't because she died or she was about to die. In that respect, it was because the whole temple was coming down and she got snatched out of the time stream. Okay. Don't be playing.
Not everybody. Let's play. Let's not play. Yeah. Not everybody. If anything, no one really gets away from Vader. Okay? There's only a small number of people who've gotten away from Vader.
Hello,
and went face to face.
Sure.
It's only a small. It's literally like 5 people that I can think of.
In episode 5 of Ahsoka, when they kind of did the eyes and the voice changing of Anakin's body, but Vader's eyes and voice. I was like, okay, so this is kind of like when they fought in Rebels in the time capsule thing. That's just where my mind went. Yeah. So I get some of the Rebels follow-up references. I just never sat through the whole thing.
It gets better. Like I think the first season to me was a little slow, but it gets better.
You got to think what Filoni has managed to do is build a Bible.
Yeah,
he's built a Bible that is easily able to go back and look and say, okay, now I get it, or this makes sense over here. Because good or bad, we were getting in a lot of Star Wars stuff before the Filoni stuff, before all the animated stuff. Not saying it was some of it was poorly written, but it's Star Wars, so you love it or you hate it. You're either on one side of the fence. I love the prequels. I do not like the way they look, as far as special effects, but fighting style, still some of the best battles I've seen.
Right.
But if you look at some of the stuff now, when they land on some of these planets, you'd be like, oh wow, that look did not age well.
Right.
But the storyline, Nice.
Like I was more a fan of the cartoon Clone Wars Grievous versus what we had, because that dude was a horseless but fast and furious menace. And then to find out they basically tried to make an entire planet of him, and then Anakin ended up going on his own spiritual tribal journey and axing that plan.
Mm-hmm.
What, with them dudes ripped off their own arms and basically out of symbolism in solitude with him, and
Right.
chose to go back with one limb and deformed. But
yeah, that's the Skywalkers. That's their thing. You walk away with something less.
They took Anakin's whole "I'm finally a knight" thing and definitely made it work. Especially like the Clone Wars movie wasn't bad. It was just random as hell. Like they had Ventress just as the main villain. I'm like, last time we saw you, you fell off a cliff. So what? How are you here? And they just never explained it. Like,
I mean, last time we had, prior to that, last time we see Maul, he was split in half and falling down a corridor. So I mean,
that man went the Heihachi route and came back like, I'm cool, bro. We saw you fall into a volcano.
So by the time we see Emperor Palpatine again, we were like, we'll take it because we've seen it already happen twice. So
you'll take it.
Didn't like how they brought it back in, but
that part.
Yeah,
I
know 03 CGI wasn't up there, but that man, what was it? That dude Grievous was holding off 2 Jedi Masters with his feet.
Yeah,
man, he was rotating between feet and hands, wielding sabers and having fun while doing it. On top of keeping trophies, slicing some, stomping out others, and could have let the droids finish them, but then just said, "I'll do this just for kicks and giggles."
Right.
Gotta think there's always a lot of there's definitely a lot of infighting on the dark side. It's infighting. That's the rule of two. It's the rule of two. No matter how you look at it, it's going to always be infighting.
And then you had Dooku basically being his trainer or handler and trying to teach him how to go after it and letting him know his trophies is going to be the end of him.
So that's because Dooku knew. He was like, he's been on the other side. He's just like, yeah, they don't exactly do what's necessary all the time.
And then,
which is why Mace is the one that's on the line. He was just like, look, yes, I am on the council. I am a Jedi. I am a knight. But that's why his saber is a different color. He was like, look, if a motherfucker gotta go down, a motherfucker will gotta go down, and no questions will be asked.
Even Mace with the hand-to-hand combat in that series, I'm like, I wish we could see more of that, because even in the first movie, y'all use Force Run and then never do it again.
Yeah.
And then Mace, I was like, I'm not squaring up with the 4-armed monster, and just caves in his entire ribcage. So now it's supposed to be how Grievous got his call, and then they just got in a car accident or some crazy shit.
General Kenobi.
Yeah, like that's supposed to be him fresh out of surgery, like hours after he escaped Coruscant originally.
And Vader's tech was not. It was designed poorly on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
It was designed to keep him in pain, which will keep him angry, which made him a threat. Palpatine played Anakin
like a goddamn
all the way to the end. He was like, "Oh, you finally come to my side. Now I'm gonna give you this high-tech gear, but your body is so destroyed." But you gave him the worst of the gear. You gave him the gear that will work what you need it to work for. However, it's still not gonna work for you. It's gonna work in my favor, no matter how you look at it. It's just not gonna work well for you.
I'm afraid you were not strong enough to save Padme. But really, I followed you.
So,
Creature
Commandos.
Oh, go ahead.
Creature Commandos.
Oh, this
cheers for the 10 men.
Happy as fuck.